it's a little scary to be put in the company of people that are 20 years older than me. But other than being the youngest recipient of the award, I mean, it means a great deal because when you get recognized for the efforts that you've done, not for one particular thing, but for a lifetime of work, it means a great deal to get recognized. And it also, the side benefit for me was that every year, Bruce has always said, come on, we got to come to Montreal, and I haven't been here in maybe 15 years, and so finally this year I had to come, and I was just reminded as to how special this festival is. It reminds me in a different way of the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival, in the quality and quantity of the music and the integration of music and culture and food, and it's just marvelous, and I'll be here a lot more often. When I started producing records and became friends with a lot of musicians, I had been a big fan of Blue Note records since I was maybe 13 years old. And when musicians started to tell me about unissued Blue Note sessions that they were on, I kind of became obsessed with it, and I kept a notebook of all their memories of records that they had recorded that never came out, because I figured, Blue Note is the greatest label, the greatest productions. There's got to be so much great stuff. And then as the 70s progressed, Lee Morgan died, and Grant Green was off the scene, and I realized whatever Lee Morgan is in the can, or Sonny Clark or Grant Green, it's the only new music we'll ever hear from these people. And so I kept banging on the door at Blue Note to please, let me get in there. I know there's got to be at least 50 or 60 unissued albums, and I'm sure some of them are great. And eventually in 1975, there was a jazz fan named Charlie Laurie who was hired away from Columbia Records to join Blue Note. And when he took one look at my notebook, he said, "You got a deal. Come out to L.A. and go through the vaults. Let's get this stuff out." And I was thrilled. And except the day that we went into the vault, which was down on 3rd Street in Los Angeles, the studio was in the middle of the block. The old Pacific Jazz studio that had become the United Artists Studio. And then at the end of the block, there was a building where there was storerooms. And we walked into a room that were, with shelving like this, and I don't know how much shelving, but there were, at least 600 or 700 reels of tape, and the whole room was all unissued Blue Note sessions. And I went to one of the first shelves, and I pulled the tape out, and it said, like, Jackie McLean, Reel 1, April 3rd, 1964. And I opened the box, and there was no paper inside, and I looked at the rest of the reels. There was nothing inside. And so what I realized is what started as the greatest day of my life had become one of the hardest days of my life, because there was no information as to what the songs were, what the takes were that were selected, and what the personnel was. So I had to go through a lot of very investigative work that took a long time in getting the information to get the material released. But it was the beginning, and it set me on one of my life paths.